Cancellation of planned changes in storage of inventory items. G'day, I'm Ash. Hope you're doing fantastically well. Welcome yourselves to the dev server. As per usual, everything is subject to change, and today we're taking a look at basically the major update, groundbreaking, or should I say game-breaking, as we take a look at some of the vehicles today. Now, the Israelis are not featured in this current dev server. I don't think they're ready just yet. So we're going to cover all the other changes instead. I'll do a separate video detailing them when they come out in probably a third dev server later down the line. And my goodness, it's been a flurry of content recently and lots of news. In changes to aircraft, the MiG-23M and the MiG-27 have had their flares and chaffs brightened and changed to a larger caliber with increased brightness and chaff dispersion. The Jaguar A has got its missile pods with the laser-guided weaponry and corresponding modifications. The Harriers have had their gun capacity, the Aiden Mark IV guns, reduced from 200 rounds to 130 rounds. The P-38s, the F-7Fs, and a couple of other aircraft have had some of their M2 50 cal Browning belts changed from early to late variants. The Phantom has got JDAM guided bombs has been added with corresponding modifications to research. The I-85 M82 and the I-85 M71 have had a separate bomb drop for 100 kilogram bombs and separate rocket launch assigned to the vehicles. In changes to helicopters, there is one to the Russian Mi-24A, and it looks pretty nice if I do say so. Sadly, there's no bomber cockpits or no other aircraft that have really received new HD models aside from the boomerangs, both of which receiving nice new textured skins. However, they're still the wrong colour, they're still painted in the wrong areas, and they still bear their civilian registration underneath the tail. Not only that, the squadron markings are still off. Don't at me about the boomerang. I understand that it's changed, but you know, both of them look nice, but there isn't really much of a change when, well, they're both not exactly historically accurate. There's 3 new locations available in the upcoming update. Aral Sea, which is basically a desert with a city and a couple of ships on board. There is also Bourbon Island, which is a new aircraft-based arcade island. And there's Viborg Bay, which is a dirty naval map. Things that have been data mined include this French 84NA, which is a rank 4 premium at battle rating 6.0. There's also this rank 2 battle rating 3.0 Beaufighter Mark 1 with twin 47mm Molens cannons, which is pretty interesting. Could be the current Battle Pass aircraft, who knows. Speaking of Battle Pass vehicles, here is a quick look at the LVT-40, a French rank 2 battle rating 2.3 LVT with a Bofors and twin 50 cals. There's also this Mi-28M, rank 7 battle rating 11.0, and then there's the PT-7657, a rank 4 battle rating 7.0 with a quick firing gun. Interesting stuff. In economy changes, cancellation of planned changes in the storage of inventory items. Goodness me, that's a mouthful. Essentially, if you're unaware of the controversy regarding the universal backups, the wages, and certain other consumer items, they have decided, post by BVVD, has decided that we are completely revoking the suggestion of the changes and will find a better solution that suits us all. That is a positive change towards War Thunder. However, unfortunately, there is another negative on the side of this one. Of course, give or take, in the economy and research, under game mechanics, the number of points earned for destroying AA-controlled ground vehicles in ships, Air RB, and other game modes has been reduced by 40%. If you want to see the patch notes, they're in the link in the description down below. I almost forgot, suspension actually has active braking now, so you have downforce actually being applied to aircraft suspension. Here is a quick glimpse of several different types of aircraft with their active suspension on the landing gear, depressing and elevating. Moving on to aircraft, the only World War II vehicle for this patch is the V-12D, rank 2 battle rating 2.3. It's got, you know, a 500-pound bomb and a couple of machine guns, but there's nothing really much to say about this machine aside from it is a strike aircraft / dive bomber. America gets a new close air support option in the form of the A-7E. Following its predecessor, the A-7D, which is a fantastic aircraft. This thing is virtually identical, aside from the fact that it has a naval camouflage, gets the arrestor gear, and obviously the refueling probe and towing bar on the front landing gear. Other than that, it does get access to these walleyes, which are mounted here. Let's have a look at the modifications. It gets access to AGM-62s, which are the guided bombs. Let's get access to AIM-9Gs. And, yeah, rank 7, battle rating 10.7. Britain actually gets an aircraft this patch in the form of the Jaguar GL1A, rank 7 but a rating 10.7 vehicle. 30mm Aidens ×2 with 300 rounds, can get access to AIM-9Gs and the guided bombs, but not any guided bombs. These are the paveway guided bombs. Let's have a look at the modifications real quick. It does get access to your 1,000-pound bombs and your mantras, your snebs, and obviously it can get unguided rockets if you so wish. It does get the ability to have flares and shafts, but it gets the installation of a laser electro-optical targeting TILAD pod, as well as GBU-12s, which are guided bombs, and then these things, which are the Mark 13/18s, which are the paveways, which are pretty interesting. Specifically having explosive mass of 87 kilograms and a TNT equivalent of 117 kilograms. But yes, quite interesting stuff. And, you know, there's plenty of other loadouts for this particular vehicle. So, an interesting addition to Britain. Sweden gets the attacker variant of their Viggen, which is the AJ37. This is a rank 7, but a rating 10.7. In terms of modifications, you will have to sacrifice either having flares or the guns, because this thing only comes equipped with 2 air-to-air missiles if you're going to use this in an air-to-air combat scenario. You can't just equip the cannons, although you can also get access to the bombs and several other things. These are what these look like right here. So quite interesting stuff, but also a nonsensical aircraft. Hey, it's nice to see another aircraft to Sweden. Germany gets 2 East German MiG-21s. First is a premium, the SPSK, which is basically a German variant of the PFM, although this does get access to R60s and obviously can have a flare pod hung underneath it. It is a rank 6 battle rating 10.0. It's got modifications here. So for those of you who want a funky shark-looking MiG-21, there you go. Infantry vehicle. It slots directly below the MF and finally fills up an 11.0 slot. 23mm cannons, cannon measure 64, and obviously gets R60s ×6. And then on the modifications, you can get S-24s, UB-32s, and your same selection of missiles that are on the previous aircraft, although now you have the option of mounting bombs as well as 6 R60s under this thing. So, should be a pretty interesting aircraft, but that's all that Germany has to really offer. Russia gets access to a MiG-23 MLD, and so I've been told it also gets access to new missiles. Russia truly suffers with the R-24Rs, and obviously can mount R-60s. It's got this interesting, on the R fuselage just in front of the horizontal stabilizer, and the vertical stabilizer, you've got this flare launching pod on the top. Other than that, it has a very mean demeanor to the vehicle. Taking a look at the modifications, it gets access to R60s as well as a new missile type, the R-24Rs, which have 24G, maximum speed of Mach 3.5, and a launch range of 27 and a lock range of 20 kilometers. Russia truly suffers. And that's it for aircraft. Let's move on to the tanks. Germany gets 3 new vehicles. The Weasel 1A4, rank 5 battle rating 7.0, is armed with a 20mm cannon with 400 rounds. Its predecessor is then also an Ocelot, which gets Fliegerfaust Stinger rounds with 8 ammunition, so you get 2 reloads there. And then there is obviously the Weasel 1A2, which is a tow-based vehicle, and an anti-tank launcher on the back there, which is fantastic. These vehicles all have 2 crew. Russia gets another light tank, this in the 2S25M, being the rank 7 battle rating 10.0. It's got a 125mm gun. It's a light tank. It is a very nice addition. Doesn't have a Soviet log. I'm very disappointed, but other than that, all nice, or well-rounded vehicle. Great Britain gets a competitor to the R3, and this in the form of the South African anti-air, the Yetzvar, I think that's how you pronounce it, I'm not entirely sure, and it gets access to a 20mm cannon, which is high mounted on the top of this truck chassis, which is quite interesting indeed. You can almost do the Dakar Rally in this thing. I think it's absolutely beautiful. Does get access to your M601, so 57mm of penetration with the high velocity armor piercing tracer shells, but that I suppose really isn't much to worry about considering the gun depression will be next to fuck all. Anyway, let's move on to the next vehicle. China gets the ZLT, or the ZTL-11, which is a armoured car armed with a 105mm gun. So 76mm smoke grenade launchers everywhere, and it also has a couple of 12.7s as well as a roof-mounted gun on the top as well there. not really much to write home about. After all, it is a vehicle. But if you're interested in Chinese tanks, all the power to you. Because, well, the thickest part of the armour on this vehicle is actually the gun. Italy gets another version of the Dardo, which is a fantastic vehicle on its own. It does get tows. It also gets access to a 30mm gun. Pretty interesting stuff there. And it does get 30mm Mark 258 ammunition, as well as the tow 2Bs. Finally, all the backlash from not having an in-tree tech tree vehicle, that being of a EBR, France finally gets itself a armoured vehicle which is actually worthy of its status. This is a 1951 variant, which is earlier than the other two premium vehicles. But hey, rank 3 battle rating 4.3 with a 775 with a top speed of, you know, quite a lot. It's not exactly going to be the fastest vehicle out there, but, you know, 117 kilometers an hour, I suppose this might be a little bit up-tiered later down the line. Last but not least is the STRF 9040B. The fans of the Swedish tech trees will probably like this vehicle because this is now 8.3 and the lowest battle rating IFV that Sweden actually gets access to. So there you go, access to that of a 40mm cannon and some 76mm smoke grenades. You're going to have a fantastic time. Fantastically, there is new naval vessels, that being the HMS Marlborough, which is a battleship. You got the RN Tigre, which is a premium Italian vessel, which is gorgeous, might I say. And then there is the MPK PR201M. Goodness me, you don't make these easy, Russia. But there you go, another coastal vessel for you. And speaking of coastal vessels, here's the PT-174. And last but not least, there's also the USS Misture. Right, well that's naval covered for 60 years. I hope you enjoyed that one. Well, you're basically up to date and you now know everything about update groundbreaking. So, hope you've enjoyed this dev server overview. Let me know if there's anything else I have missed or any updates to anything. Unfortunately, the Israeli vehicles, at least the aviation, weren't present on this version of the dev server, but alas, I think we got most of the information out there in a timely manner. Hopefully you enjoy these short based dev server videos. If you do, please leave a like and a comment. I don't even know anymore what I'm doing. It is 5 in the morning. I've been recording this video for a good 4 hours now. Please send help in the form of love and affection. Alright, my name is Ash. Enjoy the blooper about me talking about the boomerangs, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. To top that off, the two boomerangs have received new HD models, which are still not historically accurate, still bear their... fuck. It's the stupidest fucking thing! Right, that's going in as a blooper.